Welcome back. It is Thursday, so that means it's time for Talking Kids with Dr. Caitlin. Lexington pediatrician Dr. Caitlin Iddings is with us this morning as always.
Yes, and today we're talking about allergy season as kids can struggle during this time with allergies, and not just kids, adults as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, today we were talking about the kiddos that struggle with seasonal allergies. Goodness gracious, this is such a tough time for a lot of kiddos.
Yeah.
And why is that?
So the interesting thing this time of year is we still have a lot of respiratory viruses circulating too. So for like pediatricians, it's kind of this game of like, is it pollen or plague, right? Like, are you allergic to Kentucky, like most people are? I mean, we are the allergy capital of the world here, apparently.
Yes, we have that distinction. It's wonderful to hold that title.
Yes, yes. So interestingly, you know, a lot of people come in thinking like their baby has allergies. And the thing about allergies and pollen season and ragweed season in the fall is you do really have to be already exposed to it for a season before you can actually develop the allergies, because the antigens have to kind of get in your system for your immune system to even be able to recognize it, attack it, mount a response. And so it's very rare to have true seasonal allergies under the age of 1, just because you haven't lived through that spring before. So if your kid is under age 1, it's probably not related to the pollen and the seasonal allergy stuff. It could potentially be other things like mold or things in the home, just environmental stuff. But that's why a lot of these, you know, allergy medications will say if under age 2, ask your doctor before giving them to your kids, because it's just less likely that that's what's going on. It's more likely to be a cold, right? But if you're over age 2 and you've lived through a spring or 2 springs, especially last spring, I mean, you remember yellow everywhere, all the way through June.
Coated in yellow, everything.
Yeah. So yes, last season was a very strong pollen season. So those kids who were, you know, about 1 year old last year, we're seeing them come into the office just like miserable, you know, sneezing, itchy eyes, runny nose. And it's like, have you tried any, you know, Claritin or Zyrtec or, you know, 24-hour antihistamine? And the parents are like, oh, do they have allergies? And you're like, I think it's possible, right? So it is, you know, it could be possible in that age group. Before you rush your kid in first thing, it would be okay to try one of those kind of 24-hour oral antihistamines. We usually recommend giving it to them at night, just because some of them can be a little sedating, not as much as like Benadryl, right?
Sure.
That's really going to knock you out, but some of them will have the opposite reaction too, which is rare, but like some kids, when you give them antihistamines,
they get
like,
jacked up?
It'll amp them up.
Yeah, they'll run around. So that would be fine to try. Over age 3, you can start to add on things like those steroid nose sprays like Nasacort, Flonase, that sort of thing, to kind of help give them relief. And then there is a little bit of good research that shows that like local honey can be helpful. So it has to be local. You have to like go get it from your like friend on the farm down the road.
Like hyper local. The closer to where you actually are.
Yeah, so if you're here, you don't want to go get like Mount Sterling honey or Pikeville honey. Like you want to make sure it's like from Lexington or very close to here. Yeah,
that's so interesting.
Those are all things that you can try. But yeah, like I said, if you have something that's been going on for over a week and you're like, I don't know, we've tried all the, you know, over-the-counter stuff and it's not helping, then it could be that it's turning into like an ear infection, sinus infection, or maybe it was just a cold to begin with, and then you should be seen. But that's kind of like what we recommend trying first, because there's a lot of kids that are coming in right now that are just miserable. So.
And it's that troubleshooting. But yeah, good advice there about the age and when you think it could more likely be allergies or not, and then when to treat it as something like, as you said, pollen or plague.
Yes.
And the local honey thing, I guess, works for adults as well?
Absolutely, yeah. You want it to be the good, thick, like buckwheat honey too. Like, not like the honey bear honey that you buy.
So like nature's inoculation, sort of, for allergies.
It's sort of just exposing you to it. Sort of like allergy shots. Those are sort of desensitizing you to the process, just a little bit at a time, little micro doses to kind of help your body get over it.
I love it.
All right, so some things to think about as far as allergy season with your kiddos. Dr. Iddings, great to see you as always.